I got it. Let's go. Oh, what's up, guys? Welcome to the Komar project. Today we're gonna go play in the mud. Let's go. We gotta make it to the top of this hill. Holy crap. Oh man, this is such a bad idea. Oh, my butt. Ow. I am getting dirty. Hey, boys will be boys. Who doesn't like to play in the mud? All right, now that we're a little bit dirty, let's take this clothes home and make Honey Bunny do the laundry. Honey, I'm home. It was so much fun. I can't even tell you, but I got a little dirty and I got some laundry for you to do.
No, you're gonna go do the laundry.
Isn't that your job?
Have you lost your mind? How about you go do the laundry? And while you're at it, fix it up a little bit so it's a little bit more pleasant to fold your underwear.
Okay. All right, guys, let me show you what I'm up against in this ugly laundry room. Okay, so right now we're entering our very ugly, very plain laundry room that is gonna get remodeled, and we're gonna change pretty much everything in this bad boy. Before I do anything, I need to disconnect the washer and dryer, turn the gas off, and the water. Now the plan is to move the washer and dryer where you guys can see it right there from that main wall because it just didn't work. So I needed to cut out some drywall, and to do that I used the multi-tool, and then I finished it off with a utility knife. PEX? I've never worked with PEX before. Yeah, that right there was not PEX. It was actually CPVC, which is a form of PVC that has a chloride additive so that it can carry drinking water. Then you install it just like PVC where it gets glued together. After I figured out that I needed to return the copper I already bought and buy some CPVC, I started getting all the appliances out. Oh, I know, it's tough. With no help from Thor, but that's okay because he's just there for moral support and to look really cute. Okay, we have water there, so we're gonna cut the rest of this out, see what's in there. There's a bathroom over here, so we might get really lucky and tap into it. It's not lucky. After I scrubbed my face a couple times, I cut out the rest of the drywall and needed to start doing some of the PVC work. So I cut out the drain for the washer box because I needed to move it to the opposite wall where the washer and dryer are going to be. I used 1¼ screws to mount that box to the 2x4s, and then I got a spade bit to drill some of the holes for my water lines that I'm going to be redoing. Again, I used my multi-tool to cut the CPVC, and then the primer and glue it is a combination where you apply the primer around the pipe and then the glue, which will actually bond the two pieces together so you get a nice chemical bond. That way you don't get any leaks. 30 seconds. That doesn't help. Okay. I hope it doesn't leak. We gotta do everything else. Drywall, paint, cabinets, maybe a river top, countertop. Samantha loves it. Hey, big guy. My little helper. Let's do it. Oh, we're so doing an epoxy river table. I've never done one, and this was the time. But first I need to do some framing because I moved the washer and dryer drain on the outside of the wall. This way I wouldn't have to go around all the other pipes. So needed to have a little new wall that way. It covers everything up. I just used some scrap 2x2s I had laying around, 3-inch screws, some glue, and I was ready for the drywall. And let me tell you guys, I absolutely hate drywall. From hanging it, to taping it, to sanding it. I hate every aspect of the drywall, but you pretty much need to do it during every remodeling project to make everything look good. For the joint compound, I use +3 tinted. I like the tinted stuff because you can actually see what you're doing, and then it's easier when you're sanding. I hate drywall. Then I did some sanding, a whole lot of sanding, and vacuuming. The dog. Because for some reason, as soon as that vacuum cleaner comes on, Thor comes running. And you know I can't say no to that drooly, wrinkly face. Just look at it. For the primer, I used the PVA primer, which is basically designed for new drywall, and it worked really well. I used a 3-inch nap roller, and while I was at it, I just hit the ceiling with some white, and I was ready to go. How do you guys like my painting skills? A-okay. And since my brush skills are not on point, I need to tape all my seams off and corners. Yep, that just happened. I use a decent brush to cut in all my corners and seams, and then I peel off all that masking tape that I just put on, because you don't want to leave it on there and let it dry. It's going to peel all that paint that you just put on and ruin your lines. So peel it off real quick, as fast as you can. With the painting done, it's time for the flooring, and I'm using a peel and stick flooring for this application because it's easy and I have a bunch of it left over from the shop floor installation, and I'll link that video down below if you want to check it out. But pretty much you want to prep that floor as best as you can, clean it up so there's no debris left over, any dust. That way you get a good adhesion. I use a combination of a microfiber mop, spatula, and abrasive pad, and it works really well. The product that I'm using is made by a company called Traffic Master, and the color we chose is ash gray. We were able to get it at Home Depot for 99 cents a square foot. I mean, you can't beat that. And I love how easy it is to install and how durable it is. What you want to do is peel that paper backing back and just stick it onto your floor. It's that simple. You typically want to have a reference line that you go off of, and people will normally shoot a chalk line. But in the vinyl flooring that I had on the floor already, I had the grout lines that I could reference it off of, and it worked out really well. Now when you lay the second row, you want to cut the first plank in half. That way you have an alternating brick pattern. It helps with alignment, and all the seams will meet up real nice for you. And there's Thor again, laying in the most inconvenient spot he could probably find. But you know what? Revenge is sweet. Oh, is it sweet. Get him, get him. Okay, that's the last plank right there, and we are done with the flooring, and it looks so good. I can't even tell you guys how excited we are with this flooring. It's durable, it's easy to clean up, and it only took us about an afternoon to install. So we are very pleased with it, and if you want to check out the previous videos, check out the link in the description. Then I connected the washer and dryer, and I was ready for wallpaper, which I never done before, and I was very nervous about it, but I think I figured it out. I'm so nervous. I rolled the special adhesive on with a roller and then just stuck the wallpaper onto the wall. But you gotta make sure you align the pattern, you cut it correctly. I think I messed up twice here. That's why you see me cutting shorter pieces, because I didn't have enough to make it through. But the washer and dryer and then that countertop is gonna cover everything up. But in the end, it worked out really well.
Man, this stuff turned out nice. I had no idea I could do wallpaper. That just shows you guys, just because you think you can't do something doesn't mean you can't.
And now it's time for something that I know how to do. Well, at least I think I know how to do it, but, well, you guys get the point, right? Making some cabinets here. Okay. I can figure this out. Yeah, pocket holes are not as easy as they seem. I can't believe I had to reference the instruction to figure out how to get my jig to work so I get the correct spacing and the correct screws and all that good stuff. But I figured it out, and I was on my way to making the cabinet. So here I'm just using glue, brad nails, and screws to reinforce that cabinet to give it a good bond. And then we're going to be making face frames. Almost there.
One lost screw.
Yeah, one more screw.
The key to making face frames is pocket holes, glue, and having a really flat surface to assemble everything on. And then I just use glue and brad nails to attach it to the face of the cabinet. With the doors, I got super lucky. I found them at Restore, which is basically a thrift store for contractors. If you have one in your area, definitely check it out, because you can get stuff for pennies on the dollar. And I ended up paying $5 for these doors, which, if you're building on a budget like this, it really helps out.
Oh, you guys hear that?
With the caulking and sanding done, I'm ready to make the shelves, and I'm going to be using some edge banding. It just gives you a better surface when you paint.
Who would have thought ironing would? I don't even iron my clothes, my shirt and usually they are. Okay, now that we have our cabinets nice and primed, it's time to Picasso the crap out of them. We're just painting them green. Alright, time has finally come to paint the cabinet that I made.
That's not working. Can't even see it.
What's not working?
The stuff on it.
It still works, babe. Oh!
Will do.
Yeah, we have a lot of fun, and I try to get her to help as much as I possibly can.
Babe! Need your help. It's good to have an assistant. Don't tell her I called her an assistant.
You are an assistant?
Boss lady. Just get on your knees. I wish I was a bit taller. I wish I was a baller. I wish I had a girl. If I did, I would call her. Oh.
That's good.
Not bad, huh?
Not bad at all.
It even opens.
Yeah, it better open. I spent a lot of time working on these, and they turned out pretty great. But it was finally time for my favorite part of this project, and that's the epoxy live edge slab countertop. Try saying that 10 times. After getting this beast onto my bench and calling my chiropractor, I ended up laying everything out and cutting it to rough shape. I used a wire wheel and a sanding disc to get the live edge all cleaned up. Then I started poking at all the wormholes, getting them ready for epoxy. I decided I'm going to build a router sled because I'm too lazy to use a hand plane and it would take forever. Then I hot glued the slab to the melamine and then used the router with a flattening bit on there to get this slab completely flat, which took quite a bit of work and was very, very messy. But with some patience and a whole lot of sanding afterwards, I was able to get it completely flat and ready for the epoxy. In order to keep the epoxy from leaking underneath the slab, I ended up caulking everything, and I mean everything. And it still ended up leaking in a couple spots, but it worked out in the end. Now for the epoxy. I ended up going really cheap, as I usually do, because I'm cheap, and bought some stuff called marine tabletop epoxy or something like that. And didn't read the instructions, and it was only 1/8 of an inch thick per pour, which didn't work. I did 3 or 4 pours that way, and then got really frustrated and ordered Epoxy, which worked out really well. I was able to pour over an inch thick, and I was ready for flattening again. I really took my time with the flattening here, and I probably went over the slab 3 or 4 times, and by the end of the day, I was pretty frustrated, but I was super excited because we were done with it. Use my track saw to trim it to size so it'll fit in the laundry room, go up to 220 on my random orbit sander, and we are using Rubio Monaco for the finish. Now this stuff is absolutely amazing. It is one-step finish. You put it on with like a spatula trowel thingy, and then you just wipe it clean, and you get such awesome results. And I couldn't be happier with this stuff, and I'm definitely going to be using it more and more. I used some 2x3s for some bracing, and I'm gonna just lay this thing on there because if we ever move, I wanna take it with me. So I don't wanna screw into it because who knows, it may become a table down the road. And I think it looks fantastic right there. And Thor thinks so too. Okay, once this thing was installed, I was super excited, but Honey Bunny basically said that something's missing and we need some shelves. So I'm making some live edge shelves that are going to match exactly to the countertop because they came from the same exact slab, which is silver maple, by the way.
See how it's wobbling? What we're going to do is we're going to shim it, hot glue it, keep it in place. It'll flatten this whole side, and then we can flip it and get it parallel.
Since these boards were already flat from the flattening process, I ran them through the planer to bring them down to thickness, threw it on the joiner to get a square edge, and then prepped it with that wire wheel again, get that bark off, and get it ready for sanding. Love sanding.
My favorite part about woodworking. I love that sound. Time to finish.
And again, I'm using Rubio Monaco. And I don't know if I mentioned it before, but this stuff has an activator which will allow it to cure in like 48 hours versus 48 days or something. Yeah, it's crazy. Use the activator. Hey, it's time to finally install the shelves, and they're gonna go right behind me, so let's do it. Tell the people you love the shelves.
No, come closer. Ew! Ew.
And with that, the shelves are done, which means that the laundry room is complete, and there's only one thing left to do. So there you have it, guys. The laundry room renovation is complete, and I think it turned out absolutely amazing. From the flooring, the epoxy countertop, the cabinets, and even those shelves I was forced into that bring the room together, I think it turned out great. This was such a fun build for me, and I'm probably going to be doing laundry for the rest of my life after what I pulled, but it was totally worth it. If you guys like this video, you might want to go check out the individual videos of the flooring, the shelves, the cabinets, and the countertop, and I would love to hear what you guys think of the renovation. Did you learn something? Is it cool? Does it suck? Should I have just left it alone? I don't know, but go ahead and put those comments down below. I would love to hear your guys' feedback, and if anything, maybe you just got some entertainment out of it. And if this is your first time here, I'd love it if you considered subscribing and hitting the bell notification. It really helps the channel out, and it lets me put fun projects out like this and get dirty outside. So thank you so much for joining me on my experience. I'll see you guys next time. Just stung you. I stung her in the butt.